All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Bakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Hamashiach Kabashai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashma Kadash Tongue. I'll say Barakathon to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwa, say Shalom. This is a sit-down lesson on this August the 29th, 2025, on this Friday night. And this is a news article from investors.com from the stock markets, from the stock market today, which was earlier today. And this is published by Scott Lentin and Ken Shiver and Kimberly Corn from investors.com, if I pronounced their names right. And this was last updated at 4:27. 4:27 p.m. Eastern Time, August the 29th, 2025. Reads. It says the Dow Jones Industrial Average and other major index closed Friday with losses as investors pulled a skeptics ahead of the long weekend. The Dow Jones pulled down by the likes of Nvidia and Caterpillar, CAT. Meanwhile, several Warren Buffett stocks were a highlight on the stock market Friday. The blue chips on the Dow Jones shed 0.2 points or 92 points. That follows a 30 stock index record high closing on Thursday. Nvidia ended the day with a 3.3 deficit and extended its losing streak to their 3 sessions. Caterpillar was the biggest losers on the Dow with a 3.7% drop. It says the S&P 500 sinks 0.6% Friday and closes below 6,500 level after finishing a tad above it Thursday. The benchmark index also ended Thursday at a record high. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq composite got hit the hardest Friday and sold off a 1.2% small cap on the Russell 2000 also fell, paying and dropped 0.5%. The volumes were slightly higher on the Nasdaq exchange, lower on the New York Stock Exchange compares with Thursday. In preliminary numbers, as investors prepare for a Labor Day weekend on the Nasdaq exchange, falling stocks edge rising 1 more 2 to 3 on the New York Stock Exchange loses narrowly top winners. Yeah. It's the book of all right, it's the book of Jeremiah. Yep, Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup, a Yahweh's hand, that made all that are drunken. The nations have drunk for wine, therefore misses of man. Right, so we see in the up and down, back and forth, downfall of Babylon. And that's what we're seeing, because this is a modern day spiritual Babylon the Great. So we definitely been seeing the market's been up and down, back and forth, and because a lot of because the markets they react of anything that's anything that's news to the especially with the federal Powell, Jeremy Powell, or anything that's economy, economical, finance, and economics, that's anything that's financial related or economical related. That's how the markets react, or different companies and businesses of their stocks and bonds, if they go up or down, and that's how the markets react. Which we're so used to customers seeing, So as we see, the Dow Jones was down like 92 points. And I believe the S&P 500 was down as well too, like what's that, 1.2%. So now a couple of days of Labor Day weekend, so we're gonna see how the market's gonna react next week. So remember, I believe Jeremy Powell. It was data. I believe data came out yesterday. A report of the inflation rate is kind of remains the same, I believe. And then you have a potential hit from Jeremy Powell, potentially, might ease the interest rates, or might, he might cut interest rates. So that's why you've been seeing the markets been kind of good for the past couple of days, even though it's been up and down. So basically, if you get any financial announcements, or like stocks exchange announcements, or companies announcements, anything that's like financial related, or market wise, or financial related, that's how the markets react. So as of today, the markets was down, especially the Dow Jones was 92 points down, and the S&P 500 was down as well too. So we're gonna see how the markets react next week. But I just want to add a side note to that. This is Jeremiah, and once again, forgives me, kind of slip of the tongue of words a little bit. Jeremiah 51 verse 7. It says, "Babylon has been a golden cup." Right, this modern day spiritual Babylon group. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk with wine, therefore the nations are mad. Especially from an economical perspective, with these economical tariffs that these Babylon been putting on these nations, even though it's on and off back and forth. So we're seeing signs of that. Economic announcements, stocks and markets, etc. So we're seeing signs of that, even though everything's a balance scale up and down. But we definitely been seeing some increasing significant progress of the downfall of modern day spiritual Babylon the Great, especially economical wise. And many times it's trying to bounce back, but we definitely seeing signs of it been down the fall, especially from an economical sense, in those in many other categories, etc. But definitely economical wise, we definitely been seeing signs of that, even though it's been up and down, back and forth. Times it bounce back, then times it declines, and that's what we're seeing. Because everything is balanced, especially when it comes to finances and stuff like that. Yep, so this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk for wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, because the ways of Babylon, the influence of Babylon. Yep, go to verse 9. Yep, Jeremiah 51, verse 9. We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Right. Times where Babylon try to heal, but it's not going to be fully healed, economical wise. It says we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsaken her, let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgments reach into heavens, and its lips up to the skies. Once again, Jeremiah 51 verse 7, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, right still to this day, and made all the earth drunken. Nations have drunk for wine, therefore the nations are mad. So with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying of this recent news article. As it says again, it says the stock market today, Dow Jones sinks, but Nasdaq fares much worse. Nvidia extending a losing streak. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father that you name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, and then Hamashiach Kabashai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashma Kadash tongue. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim Ma'akwaf. Until next time, we say Shalom.